After a keenly contested presidential primary, Atiku Abubakar emerged the presidential candidate of the main opposition People's Democratic Party, the PDP. Now, following his victory, his next point of order will be selecting his vice president and running mate. Of course, that candidate should be one who increases his chances of victory come 2023. At this time, several names are being tipped as the most suitable candidate to occupy the VP slot. But what will form the decider in the choice ahead? Will it be zoning, appeasing aggrieved party members, or satisfying some people who gave up their slots to see he emerged winner? This and much more will form the thrust of our discussion as Governor of Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu, joins us now. Mr. Governor, it's good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, it's nice to have you here. Now we have we've had a number of discussions since Atiku emerged as the presidential candidate of your party, the PDP, and your name is one of those that have come up as a possible running mate for Atiku. Have you had any discussions with you, or have some discussions been going on around you in regard to that possibility?
Well, I'm just hearing it for the first time. I have not heard it from anybody, and my preoccupation now is to continue to do what I'm doing in Abia and finish strong, because there's still a lot of work to be done. We are still doing construction in Abia, even by 9 p.m. I was up monitoring contractors yesterday till about 11 p.m. in the night, and so we are very busy, and that's what our preoccupation is. I don't envy those who are aspiring to, serve Nigeria at the level that you are talking about. We have a broken country now. We have too many issues, and there's a lot of work to be done. I've not heard about that.
All right, but of course that hasn't stopped, people from making observations about how things are going, especially regarding the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as the flag bearer of the party. You are reported to have sent congratulations to him, and we also say congratulations to you because we understand you won the senatorial ticket in your state. But looking at calming frayed nerves in the party now that the next big focus is choosing a suitable running mate for him, how should the party go about it? Of course, it's a fact that Mr. Peter Obi, who has now exited the party, was his running mate at the last general election. What should be done now?
Well, thank you. I think that what should dominate this conversation should be somebody with fresh ideas, somebody with energy, somebody with zest, somebody with capacity, somebody that is close to the grassroots, that understands the pulse of Nigerians, especially the youth and women, and somebody that is clear-headed about how to make contributions to the security issues, unite Nigeria, and then speak to economy. Job creation is very, very critical. By 2030, our population will double, and that will be predominantly youth population. And that's a time bomb ticking with what is happening around bandits and insurgents or across Nigeria. So it's not an easy job, and every other consideration should be secondary. So the first thing is somebody with capacity. But I also think that it's important to also speak to giving all parts of Nigeria a sense of belonging. The Southeast has complained bitterly about marginalization and not being in the mainstream of activities in Nigeria, not even a single security chief. So no Southeasterner will be found in a meeting where the Security Council will be meeting in this country or has been meeting since the past 7 years. No Southeasterner is among the first 5 or 6 citizens of this country. The president is not a Southeasterner, the vice, the senior president, the leader of the House of Reps, secretary to government, chief of staff, all those things, the Southeast feels excluded. And Nigeria has become very, very nepotic in nature, and people who are not part of the conversation and discussions feel alienated naturally. So what do we do to make sure that all parts of this country have a sense of belonging and a buy-in and a reason to continue to remain where they are? So these are some of the issues that need to dominate our conversations going forward.
All right. At the last election in 2019, Atiku Abubakar, who was the candidate of the party, decided to take somebody from the Southeast as running mate. And at this time, it was only natural for everybody to think in the same light. But socio-political organizations like Okezie and Igbo had, sent out a message that no one from the Southeast should accept a running mate. How is that impacting going forward? What would likely turn out? Who might likely be chosen, if at all the Southeast is going to be considered?
Well, I have a lot of respect for the opinion of the Southeast, of Okezie and Igbo. But that does not mean that we must abandon the food that is on the table completely. We cannot embark on a journey of self-destruct. We will always at all times try to engage. Governance and leadership of this country has to dovetail from series of conversations and engagements. We have to continue to appeal to people to have confidence in the people of the Southeast, and we also have to gain the confidence and acceptability of people. I think we need to engage with the leadership of the party, PDP, and other parties and see where we can get the best deal.
Well, Your Excellency, last time when Atiku ran for president, he chose somebody from the Southeast, Peter Obi, to be vice president. And the vibes coming from Southeast was that Southeast was not going to play second fiddle to anybody this time around. Is it a situation in which, are we going to face a situation in which the Southeast wants to get the top spot, and if it doesn't get the top spot, it gets nothing, and then in the final analysis, it gets neither the first stop nor the second stop, and by trying to get one thing, it gets nothing, it loses out altogether? Is that the kind of scenario that we are facing in the Southeast? For instance, if Atiku is put in a situation where the Southeast will not even accept to be vice president?
That is what I'm saying. My position is that, well, I think Okezie spoke well. That is the feeling of our people. But be that as it may, we cannot, politics is not about all or nothing. Politics is about all or what you can get. And I don't think walking out from the table is going to serve us in any way. It will worsen our situation. It will worsen our capacity to even lead tomorrow. Because if you try and you don't get what you want, the best thing for you to do is to dredge up courage to engage and continue to engage until everybody begins to have this feeling that time has come for you to get the #1 slot. It will certainly come someday, whether they like it or not. But for now, where we find ourselves is to begin to see what we will do. Let me give you an insight into how I'm thinking too. Yes, it is good to serve Nigeria as president, but as a Southeasterner, we are also very interested in providing an enabling environment for trade and commerce to thrive. We'll be interested in a president that can do serious port reforms so that when I import my spare parts at Apapa Wharf, I can clear them within 24 hours and have them arrive at area market in a day or two, so that I can do my turnaround and pay back my bank loan. I should be able to look for who can enable the small and medium scale businesses around Abia and the Navy to continue to thrive. We should look for somebody who can enable us to begin to embark on our night travels, so that we can go to Zamfara, Sokoto, and sell our wares and continue to lead out in the business space of this country. Even in manufacturing, which is where we play very well, we need to think of somebody who has such policies. We need to think about things like restructuring, things like resource control, things like devolution of power, things like strengthening the local government, strengthening the states, and all of that. So I don't think it's about all or none. We can be a little bit deeper and cerebral about our engagement. The Jews are very, very strategic in most countries where they play. In Russia, in America, they are head of treasury and all of that, and they have built a strong homeland in Israel. So there are ways we can say no to forces of operation without necessarily turning our back completely. I don't think that is the way to go. That is not being smart about it.
Where do you stand, Your Excellency, in the arguments made by one of the, once leading contenders for the presidential ticket of the PDP, Nyesom Wike, when he gave his reaction to the emergence of Mr. Abubakar as the flag bearer? He slammed southern governors as betraying him. And some have also slammed him for not wooing himself adequately to the Southeasterners. And now he's being increasingly lobbied to be a suitable running mate for the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. What do you think about that mix?
Well, in 2018, I was the first person who voted for Abubakar Atiku. At that time, I think he was very good, and he had enormous capacity. He still has capacity. I think he has ideas. But at that time, I think against the wish of most of my colleagues like Tambuwal and Wike went with Tambuwal, I went with Atiku. But in 2022, I supported Governor Wike for two reasons. One is that the Southern governors agreed that we were going to support Southern candidates. And we had meetings in Lagos, Asaba, and Enugu, and I agreed that that was what we were going to do. And I have not heard about any other meeting to change that position. So among the Southern governors, Wike threw his hat into the ring early enough, and I had conversations with him. I saw in him a man of courage with capacity, somebody that has color. I mean, even if you don't like where he stands, but you know he stands somewhere. And somebody who sticks to what he says. And we pushed the project until the party decided. And as a party man, I had said before that, and he also agrees with me, that we will not abandon PDP. We will be in PDP and support the project to rescue Nigeria. So where we are now is that we have a candidate, and all that is history. For me today, Governor Wike still has something to bring to the table. He's a strategic member of our PDP and a very, very courageous leader. So whatever he gets, I think he's fit and proper to serve at whatever level he wants to do that. But for me, I'm thinking about engagement with the Southeast. Because it will come to the point where we also need to lead campaign in our zone. And we need to have what to campaign with. We need to begin to talk about how do we engage the Southeast, how do we bring the Southeast to the table and begin to talk about all of this. Like I said before, the presidency is a behemoth. And what we are suffering today is not peculiar to the Southeasterners. Other parts of Nigeria are going through the same thing. But for us, we want a president that can enable trade and commerce. We want a president that can do port reforms. We want a president that can bring about security. We want a president that can guarantee the safety of the investment of the Igbo man wherever he decides to so do. Until Nigeria comes to a point where Nigeria will realize that Nigeria needs an Igbo man pretty much more than Igbo men need Nigeria. You know, because we make profound contributions to the GDP of every place we go to. Is it Lagos? Is it Abuja? Even Sokoto? And I have said it before now that a lot of people are afraid of Sambisa Forest, but Igbo man, any Igbo president will storm Sambisa Forest because he sees business opportunity and he wants to sell spare parts there. You know, and this is part of our nature. You know, so Nigeria needs Igbo people more than Igbo people need Nigeria. We may not realize that now, but tomorrow we will realize it.
Well, others will feel that everybody needs everybody and we all need each other one way or the other. But what kind of consultation is ongoing? There are some reports that the National Working Committee of your party is not totally on the same page with the Board of Trustees regarding who the running mate for Atiku Abubakar should be. Several names have gone out there. Governor of Akwa Ibom State is being mentioned. Governor Wike is being mentioned. Even Governor Okowa is also being mentioned. Talk to us basically regarding what kind of consultation is going on, especially when the National Working Committee doesn't seem to agree with the Board of Trustees in this regard.
Well, I have said it before. I don't know why people have issues with decision making. Making this kind of decision shouldn't be a problem. The first thing is to set out the parameters. What do we want to achieve? We want a vice that can support this president. We want somebody that has youthful zest. We need somebody that has capacity. We need somebody that understands Nigeria properly. We need somebody that is empathetic and that is close to the grassroots. We need somebody that can do the sped work and move around Nigeria. The next presidency must start from engaging Nigerians. I had recommended earlier that anybody who wants to be president should be ready to visit the 109 senatorial districts at least 3 times in 1 year and hold town hall meetings with sleeves rolled or on t-shirts and jeans. Nigerians need to be brought back into the bandwagon. Nigerians have dislocated from the government has dislocated from governance and so we need to win back Nigerians and get them back to begin to trust the leadership of this country going.
We just lost your audio there. Are you there? All right.
I guess we'll try to reconnect.
Yeah, we'll try to reconnect and then come back on. We were speaking with Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, the governor of Abia State. And we've been talking about the issues of the running mate to the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. Now, the point there is he was talking about the consultation going on, setting up the parameters for who to be the vice president or running mate.
Yes, and I think he has been hitting the points. First, he talked about the pride of the Southeast. He talked about the fact that decisions have to be taken in the interest of the general nation. As for the Southeast, he says, we don't want to get a situation where we lose the baby and the bathwater. We have to get something out of it. I know everybody is angry, but we don't have to act as though we're little children. We have to get something. And he had first of all lamented about the state of the Igbo man in Nigerian hierarchy, that number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, you can't find an Igbo man, and so on, which is quite unfair, frankly, and for a very huge chunk and phenomenal ethnic group in the country to be so disenfranchised is not talking about justice. And so those are the kind of things he has been ruminating on since he has been speaking with us, and he has been quite articulate getting the points across. And there are a number of more issues you still want to raise.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I also like the fact, I appreciate the fact, that he was open about his, his choices at the last general election, when options were put across, just as we're having options, varying options now, he owned up to the fact that, yes, indeed, he gave his support to the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, and now this time around, opportunities came. The Governor Wike, seized the opportunity way early, saying he was interested in running, and, the fact that he was open about it. Then he also spread out that the feeling of disenfranchisement, the feeling of being caught out now is not just similar to...
So I understand he's back now.
He's back.
Governor Okezie Ikpeazu is back. All
welcome
right.
back.
Excellency, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, you've talked about the problem of the East and so on and so forth. There's also been the issue of the disconnect between the governors or the political elite and the agitators of IPOB and the ESN on the other hand, and that somehow you guys are caught in between trying to satisfy the people and staying and satisfying your own political aspirations and also trying not to get into the bad waters of the ESN, and that has created its own problems within the Southeast. Now speak to how you and your brother governors are trying to navigate this very, very delicate line.
Well, thank you very much. I think that the problem of ESN in the Southeast is symptoms of a dysfunctional security architecture and lack of cohesion and understanding between the federal, state, and the local governments. If we start from the beginning, IPOB started with the agitation to say that there is marginalization everywhere and all of that. And government did not engage, nobody spoke to anybody, and it went on until Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was granted bail, and suddenly his house was stormed without the consent of the governor, my humble self, though I go by the appellation of Chief Security Officer. The GOC then just came to government house somewhere here and told me he was going to arrest Nnamdi. I said, how? He said he wanted to go and arrest him. I said, how do you do that? Have you invited him? What is the matter? I said, no, that he was going to, I tried to get all the traditional rulers in a hall and asked him to address them with me. And we tried to invite Nnamdi Kanu's father, who was a traditional ruler at that time, and all of that. Before we could conclude the meeting, he ordered his troops to storm. So our capacity as the leaders in the Southeast to engage is hampered by the fact that when we engage, are we sure that the outcome of that engagement will have the ears of the powers that be up? And again, returning back to our boys, the problem also is if I engage the federal government on behalf of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, am I sure that I'm going to get the understanding and buy-in of the boys that are in the forest? So it has put us in a place where some level of metamorphosis has gone on. This IPOB now is almost like slipping out of the hands of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, as it were. And I think that the best time to do that, which you were supposed to do yesterday, is now. If we also open up and begin to engage, and then we hold frank discussions and conversations around the issues, we could get somewhere. And I say the same thing for all the aggrieved persons across Nigeria. The killing of Yusuf did not stop Boko Haram. Rather, it turned Boko Haram to a cancer. So, continued incarceration of it's not likely going to bring about an end to the issue. Rather, it will lead to various forms, and the thing will keep changing method and mode. So the best thing to do is to engage. There are issues that are germane, or salient issues that need to be discussed. Because even if you have a bad recalcitrant child, the best thing to do is to engage. So I think that the time and the solution tomorrow will be to engage. The solution next decade will be to engage. Why are we not embracing it now?
Right.
Which, unfortunately, it requires courage. It requires courage. Many people don't have courage to do the needful.
So, but what are you doing now? Because some have said that, the kidnap, thank God he's been released. Now, the kidnap of the prelate of Methodist Church in Abia State could have been a fine moment for the ESN to prove itself. I mean, if you listen to what the prelate said about, his ordeal in the forest, and against the backdrop of the lack of cohesion, which you've also alluded to, by the governors in the Southeast. So what are you doing now to correct this anomaly? Because it's been compared, the ESN has been compared to Amotekun in the Southwest.
Well, yes. What I have to say here is that kidnapping incident of the prelate was a very, very unfortunate narrative. Kidnapping is very bad, but kidnapping of a clergyman is sacrilegious. And I spoke with the prelate immediately he was released. I did not go into details because we had to put him under the care of a medical doctor. Immediately he was released. And he was released 24 hours, less than 24 hours after they abducted him when he left the church. And so I have not debriefed, he hasn't debriefed me. I have not heard from him one-on-one. What I have is what I gleaned from the media. But I know that immediately that thing happened, I engaged the Commissioner of Police, I engaged the security agencies, I engaged everybody to, and we sent troops to the forest, and that happened. But I understand the prelate said something about paying ransom and all of that. I'm not aware of that. And unfortunately, if that happened, we have also lost an opportunity to apprehend, because security agencies in my state know how to do what they do best if they are in the know about what is happening. At the point of collection of ransom is the critical point for security people, and they know what to do at that point. But unfortunately, we were not part of that discussion and conversation. Be that as it may, there is a complete disconnect. You know that IPOB is a banned group in the Southeast, according to the federal government. And the state cannot engage them officially to go and do the needful. But on Friday, which is tomorrow or so, between tomorrow and next, I'm going to hold a security council meeting at Umunuchi. I'm moving everybody to the site where that thing happened, so that we can engage the youths, we can engage the traditional rulers, we can engage everybody. We are going to go into that forest ourselves and see what is happening there. Unfortunately, too, there are many theories. There is a garriki, an enclave where we have our northern brothers around there that sell cows, which was established way before my administration. And these people of that community are beginning to feel that they are not getting adequate protection from the law enforcement officers, which is a very, very dangerous trend. If the people you are supposed to protect begin to suspect that they are no longer safe with you, it is a dangerous trend. That is why I will not subscribe to the meeting at Umuahia. I will have to go to Umunochi so that we can give them confidence and hope. We can engage them and try to create a cocktail of solutions and see how we take it from there. But I assure you that Abia State remains one of the safest states in the Southeast. And we have a formula, and we are going to deal with this particular multi-problem very soon.
All right. It'll be good to get to know what the engagement at Umunochi or Isuochi area will turn out to be. But there was a question earlier regarding how you and fellow governors of the East are engaging each other. Recall that Professor Charles Soludo from Anambra State visited Nnamdi Kanu recently. And we also are aware of some of the attacks within his state, his home local government, and some even recently a media station was also attacked, and so on. We are seeing some of these things. But what kind of engagement is going on between you and the governors together? Because we know the level of influence that you, the governors, wield when it comes to having things done if you want to do anything.
Well, thank you. I am in sympathy with my brother governor in Anambra. He just came in and they greeted him with all that kind of problems, just as he was about to settle. And I'm confident that he will do the needful. Well, we have Southeast Governors meeting, and the leadership, our leader is Governor Mahi. Incidentally, since the tempo of politics increased, we have not held our meetings. But before now, we used to hold regular meetings. We have held meetings with representatives of MASOB, ESN, and all those groups. And we compared notes and we came up with our strategy. But we agreed that Ikpeazu was going to be, we will share intelligence at the regional level, but we are going to act locally. And the architecture of my own Ikpeazu in Abia State is different from what is happening in Enugu and Imo and Ebonyi and Anambra. We just agreed, well, let us have a force that can share intelligence centrally at Enugu. If we have a drone, we can take the drone to any part of the southeast depending on the need. And then if we have cross-border crimes, people crossing border from one.
All right, we're losing your audio. Okay. The governor was talking about in fact, security issues have been.
Yes.
That's a very valid point. Yeah. But you know, this seeming disconnect, the fact that the governors of this very crucial zone now do not seem to be working together. And I was actually looking forward to hear him land on his response, where he also kind of acknowledged that the southeastern governors need to do more to make the Ikpeazu initiative work.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I was saying I was looking forward to, hearing him, make more concrete points now on how the Ikpeazu initiative would work, against the ESN option, because that is also something to contend with. And of course, you mentioned the strides Governor Soludo is making in the neighboring Anambra states, but it doesn't seem to be enough against the looming security challenges.
In some quarters, it looks like the ESN on one hand and the Ikpeazu are not necessarily on the same page.
Yeah. Well, they will have to be eventually, but he has always made the point in this conversation that there's need to always engage, and I think that is his own attitude towards this. I would want to know when he comes on is how do we use civic coercion? How do we get the common man to actually send information about all of these criminals, where they are and who is it among them, because they are among the people. When they are in the forest, they still come home to eat, or they come home to see their brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and so on. So what is the mechanism for creating civic coercion where these people can actually be found out and identified?
Okay.
Yeah.
The governor is back now, so I think we should just direct that question to him directly.
Welcome back, sir. Yeah, you were talking about, you have always talked about engage. Now, the question I'm really concerned with is about civic cohesion. How do we get the people in the neighborhoods to identify who these hoodlums are among them? Because they live among the people. They are the brothers, they have aunties, they have mothers, they have fathers, they have neighbors, they have friends. How do we get them to really help in giving information, the necessary intelligence to isolate them and get them out of action?
Mr. Governor, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can now.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I was asking that you were talking about engage. So I was talking about civic coercion. How do we get the people in the neighborhoods to identify the real hoodlums among them? There are brothers, there are sisters, there are fathers, uncles, friends, schoolmates around there. How do we get them to really funnel the necessary intelligence so that we can isolate them and put them out of action?
Yes, that is where I was going to. I said in my state, what we have is what I call gatekeepers. Gatekeepers are young youth, ordinary people that are located in communities and villages, and we drew them in collaboration with the traditional rulers and youth council and youth leaders, and they live among the people. And some of them are people who dwell in the forest also. They have business in the forest. They are farmers, they are hunters, they are palm wine tappers and all of that. And because they are not armed, their duty is not to confront people with AK-47. Their duty is to give us information about unusual movements and what is happening. And we have that structure from communities down to wards, from wards down to local governments. And we process the intelligence and then liaise with the law enforcement officers. If it is something that requires kinetic approach, we deal with it. If it is something that we can handle locally without involving the Commissioner of Police and the military, we will deal with it. And it has worked for us in Abia. Like I said before, Abia is sufficiently stable and one of the safest states, but for what happened to the village a few days ago. Having said this, I think that if we go granular to the grassroots, I also alluded to it when I mentioned the strategy to solve Umunnochi problem. It's not something I can deal with sitting at home. I have to go to Umunnochi because now there seems to be a disconnect between the Umunnochi people and their faith and confidence in the ability of the law enforcement officer to protect them. So there is need to give them confidence, and because we need them. If we don't get this community buy-in, it will be difficult for us to track movement of strangers and when people that are on our wanted list return to the community. And I'm confident that it will work. So it requires hard work. It requires close monitoring. It also requires serious intelligence gathering in our local way. It doesn't have to come from any books, but we have to find a way to get our people to be part of the solution, and that is what we are going to do.
All right.
I just wanted to ask whether it is your indigenization program. I want to know whether it is one of those clothes made in Abia that you are wearing, because you have this program going on made in Abia with a lot of people.
I'm surprised that you've not commended my dress.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Governor Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State. Thank you for talking to us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you. Thank you. Peace.
We appreciate you. And we keep standing with you on the good things you're doing to ensure that people there are safe Right. It's been a good day so far.
Yes.
With, understanding what the issues are, especially
Yes.
from the southeast.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Of course, looking at, national issues, especially where the PDP is concerned, and
Concerned.
how their moves, will impact on, the entire
The
country.
ongoing, yes.
Right. And the stakes they have, of course,
right.
ahead
Exactly.
of the coming election.
Now, this is where we wrap up today. Thank you very much for spending your morning with us. And we have to let you know that the views and reaction of all our resource persons are their views and have no connection with TVC News.